Have you ever been scrolling and just felt like you're wading through an endless sea of digital junk? Well, you are definitely not alone. The Economist has picked a word for 2025 that absolutely nails that feeling. And today, we're going to break down what it is and why it matters so much right now.
Okay, so let's just think about this for a second. How do you pick a single word to sum up an entire year? It's a really tricky challenge. I mean, dictionary makers, lexicographers, they often have to choose between some super technical term nobody's heard of, a piece of slang that's going to be dated in 6 months, or something that just feels a little bit off. So here's our game plan. First, we'll get into why this word of the year thing is so hard to get right. Then we'll look at the top contenders from all over the world. After that, we'll reveal the big 2025 winner and figure out what it's really telling us about the world we live in. To really appreciate why this year's word is so important, we have to look back a little bit. Let's revisit some past winners that honestly left a lot of us just scratching our heads. Remember Youthquake? Yeah, me neither, really. It was supposed to be about this big wave of youth-driven political change. And what about Goblin Mode? That feeling of just unapologetically staying home and being a total slob. You know, these words felt so spot on for a minute, but they already feel kinda dated. And that's the tightrope these language experts have to walk, picking a word that captures the moment without just being a passing fad. All right, let's pivot to our first major contender for 2025. This one was put forward by several of The Economist's correspondents in China, and it captures this uniquely modern type of exhaustion. I want you to imagine a race where absolutely everyone is sprinting as fast as they possibly can, but nobody is actually moving forward. That's the feeling behind our first contender, Naijuan. It's a word that really started in the business world, but man, has it grown to define a much bigger, more modern kind of anxiety. And this quote just nails it, right? It's that feeling of being in this super intense, inescapable competition that doesn't actually get you anywhere. You can see why it was a powerful contender for sure, especially for students and workers feeling that pressure. Okay, next up, let's look at a few more runners up. These ones kind of bubbled up from the super fast-paced worlds of finance and, of course, the internet slang that's basically taking over everything. So, from the world of finance, we get TACO. It's this pretty clever acronym that describes a very specific political move, threatening big tariffs and then backing down at the last minute. It's a perfect example of how language can be this powerful and sometimes kind of cheeky tool to keep leaders in check. And then there's the slang. You might have heard this one. Oxford dictionaries actually picked brain rot as their word for 2024. And it's kind of a perfect word, because it describes both the cause, that endless stream of mindless online junk, and the effect. That feeling of your brain turning to mush after way too much scrolling. So that feeling of brain rots, of just being totally swamped by digital noise, is something a lot of us can probably relate to. And it's that exact feeling that really paved the way for The Economist's final choice for 2025. Okay, here we go. It's time for the big reveal. Let's see how this all connects. The explosion of a new technology this year made one specific word pretty much unavoidable. I mean, just think about your own social media feeds. After OpenAI dropped Sora, that tool that can make a whole video from just a little text prompt, our feeds were just suddenly flooded with this entirely new kind of content. So what do we even call all of it? Yep, that's it. The word of the year for 2025 is slop. It sounds unappetizing, it sounds messy, and according to The Economist, it perfectly symbolizes what it feels like to be alive in this particular digital age. Now, what's really interesting here is that slot is not a new word at all, but it's the new way we're all starting to use it that makes it so incredibly relevant today. This timeline is actually kind of wild. The word's meaning has just gotten worse and worse over the centuries. It started out as just mud. Then it became gross, low-quality food, and now it's found its perfect modern meaning. The endless river of low-quality, often AI-generated content that's just clogging up the internet. And this isn't just some abstract idea, right? This is the stuff we're dealing with every single day. We're talking about those sketchy health articles on Google that were clearly written by a robot, those creepy Instagram videos with the weird AI voices, and all those fake political accounts polluting our feeds. It's making it harder and harder to figure out what's even real anymore. Okay, I know. Drowning in a sea of digital slop sounds pretty terrible. It's super easy to feel pessimistic about it all.
But believe it or not, The Economist thinks there might just be a surprising silver lining to all of this mess.
So what's it going to be? A future where we're just buried in digital garbage, or one where we finally start to appreciate the real stuff again? This idea of sloptimism suggests that the more junk we're forced to see, the more we're going to crave real quality. It might actually push us back towards sources we can trust and, hey, maybe even convince us to log off the platforms that can't get their slop under control. And that's really the crucial question this word leaves us with, isn't it? Is all this slop going to destroy our ability to find good information and just lead to more brain rot? Or will it trigger a flight to quality, making us value real, human-made content more than we ever have before? The answer to that is probably going to define the internet for years to come.